We are going live, people. Here we are. Showing me on LinkedIn. It's live. Blessing me live on LinkedIn. Somebody acknowledge for me whether you're seeing me live on LinkedIn, guys. Okay. Okay. Get a recording here. Yeah, hello, everybody. I'm Sudha Jamthe, and this is SudhaLive. Friday evening here in Silicon Valley. As I wind down the week, I've collected a lot of beautiful opportunities in AI, grants, fellowships, update on happenings in the AI world, and jobs. So let's have fun. For the next 30 minutes, I'm going to try and see whether I can keep it to 30 minutes today, because it's almost weekend for many of you who are joining from Asia. Thank you so much for doing this on your Saturday morning. I appreciate that. And many of you might come back and watch this later on LinkedIn or on YouTube, or might come through my newsletter, bit.ly/Jamthe newsletter. For those of you who are new, I like to show this always when I get started, however redundant it may appear, because, so let me check. Okay, so this is where, okay, let me share the screen. So bit.ly, this is where I went, bit.ly/Jamthe newsletter takes you here, and you will find the archive of my newsletter, weekly newsletter that goes out on Sundays. And also whatever link I'm sharing here, I'm going to go put it out there. So what's the big exciting thing this week? I've been talking to you about going to NeurIPS. I'm back home from New Orleans. It's a beautiful place with a lot of art. And then we had this whole AI conference, and I got to meet some amazing people, So before I forget, I want to show you a piece of art from New Orleans that I got. Let me see. Because my background, I have a background. I have to set it up to show it to you guys. I can't show it right now. I got a piece of art painting from a local artist. I thought I could show it, but because I have my background set up, it's cutting everything other than my silhouette. So it's not going to let me show you that. So, but I will try and get it to you maybe another time. So with NeurIPS, I shared with you, we've been working on Global South in AI, went to NeurIPS, did our workshop and presentation and posters. And our whole goal is to add inclusiveness to language AI. And we had a peer review process. This is my whole labor of love, along with Yash Ashwini, Susanna Raj, and Pariya Saran. And this was like a grand finale. And then I've shared this in the last newsletter about the in-person events and the posters and the workshop. And what we did this week on Monday, December 5th, we had the virtual posters. NeurIPS was very good about it and allowing for a whole week of virtual sessions and posters and workshop, so that we could have people from around the globe join us. And we were one of those people. And we had a bunch of our own posters, which came from peer reviews. Okay, so what you see around me here is our own poster that we did as secondary research from our work from Global South in AI. It's called Inclusive Construct for Gender Across Languages. And this is a brainchild of Susanna Raj. She's been working on this whole concept of bringing construct from the non-tech world into technology world as an inclusive construct. And as we were working with various languages, we found that gender and gender equality was something that was a common theme across different languages. So this is our work. You will hear more about this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a little snippet of our live stream that we did as we presented the actual posters live. Let me share my YouTube screen with you. Oh, this is my Zoom screen. So what we did was we got started with um, the live sessions that happened. So here you're seeing Muskan Mahajan. This is Dr. Tera Sahib. This is me, Sudha Jamthe, and this is Sundar Narayan. And we had a few more of the authors as they were going through the poster session in NeurIPS. They joined us and they talked about our papers. So I'm going to find a way to share this with you guys. Let me see if I can get you a snippet of it, what this looks like. So this is Muskan. Let's see if we can hear a little bit of Muskan's presentation. Okay. Bella, bot for English language acquisition. So this is the actual virtual poster session called the metaverse called Topia. And here I am, little avatar roaming around. And here is Muskan. And I showed this on Zoom. So that's what you're seeing. This was the real virtual environment with all of us moving around. And Bella is the bot for English language acquisition for English speakers, Hindi speakers who type using Latin script. So I'll let Muskan do her explaining of the poster. This is how the poster is. Thank you for joining us. Okay. Can you see this in a bigger view?
Yes, so we've got the expand button at the top right of the thumbnail. Left to the mute, yes.
Yes, okay. Thank you.
Okay, every time. So this is Bella, bot for English language acquisition, a language learning chatbot for a youth that largely switches their language from Hindi to English. So I have already discussed the motivation behind creating Bella, which is the growing importance of English language in India. So the objective that I defined for myself while creating Bella was that I need to mentor these English language learners. So it was my responsibility to survey them and understand what it is that they were looking for from a language learning chatbot. And what I realized is that their expectations are very varied. They want translations to their Hindi and English phrases. At the same time, they want to improve their listening, speaking, reading, and writing skills through passages, videos. And when they're done with their classic English language learning tasks, they're also looking for a friend. They're looking for a buddy who they can converse with in English. So I realized that if I were to accommodate all of these expectations, I would have to divide the operation of Bella into two modes, a tutor bot and a buddy bot. So from the given flowchart, you can make out that the design of Bella is as follows. That when a user sends in a query, it passes through a natural language understanding pipeline consisting of a language identifier, an Indic language translator for Hindi language, and a machine translator. After the passing through the NLU pipeline, the user queries is in a standardized English format. And then we decide whether the query is related to English language learning or not, after which it is routed to a tutor bot and a buddy bot where it is processed accordingly. So I don't know if we're at a time constraint, but should I also elaborate on what happens?
Okay, so you get a taste of this. I want to move on to show more people. So you're going to be seeing this in the recording once I share that. I'll likely share that using the newsletter because we did a live stream of this. And we were lucky to have Dr. Tera Sahib, who was one of our area chairs. So she was asking some of the smart questions too. Let me see who else I can find next. Who was sharing their Topia presentation. Here is Sundar Narayan. Let me see. Andrew and okay. I was something talk of crop imagery. Okay, it threw me out. I'm gonna go. I went back the posters, so I just thought maybe you can explain. These are all
sure. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Oh, this is Halil.
Awesome. So yeah, welcome. Hello, everyone. Glad to be here. So let me tell you.
This is Halil Hussain. And he was presenting transformer-based Kenyan election misinformation and how to monitor for that and hate speech.
We can hear him.
The,
Oh, okay, good.
sorry?
No, it works now. We couldn't hear you. Now it works. Okay.
And can you share your poster? Will you be able to share a poster? I think there's an option you can share your poster. Then
I am not sure how to activate this
Okay.
option at the moment.
Okay, no problem. We'll just see this where I'm seeing this. I'll just show that. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, as I was saying, so Kenyan elections have been like sort of a politically turbulent time in Kenya, with sometimes violence being instigated and some violent events happening. So this idea of a dashboard came from Lawyers Hub, which is a Kenyan-based a Kenyan-based organization that focuses on policy and technology. So we were able to develop a simple sort of a simple, efficient, and quick tool that allows us to be able to detect
Okay, I'm going
certain
to
things.
move on. Ali Hussein, thank you. You'll be able to see his work. I just realized there were a few more people. This was like 1.5 hours. So I'm not going to do justice to that. So I'm going to share the whole recording. I just wanted to give you guys a taste of the various different speakers and topics. And
the problem here in South Sudan is literacy. English is our official language and the language of instruction, but literacy is very, very low.
Such a fun discussion.
People obviously know their mother tongue. So our idea is to
Andrew Wundu.
make mother tongue more accessible, so that if material more available in their mother tongue, it would increase literacy. Now, people already speak their language, and so you might ask, if they already speak their language, what is the need? Why do we need to do this? Personally, I come from a background of language teaching, education, and there's so much you can do when your language is written. You can write poems in it, you can write laws in it, you can text people online, you can write emails, and things that you cannot normally do in languages. And so for us, this is just one way of building interest in local languages. People speak it, but it's not given that prominence. And we feel this is an exciting way of getting people involved.
Okay, I'm going to move on. This was a fun conversation. I had so much fun with this conversation, so hope you'll watch that. I think we missed Sunda.
That's where the 64 comes.
I was very curious, the 64 ethnic group, and I had learned a lot about Bari. I'm so tempted. I want to visit South Sudan.
Each of the hand gestures means
This
something
is teaching
in the
dance
dance.
to AI by Sundar Lok.
And so the problem statement clearly shows, all those hand gestures does not mean much, or they do not understand what exactly is meaning, but actually they're actually telling a story of, the ancient folk stories or mythological stories and things like that, right?
They took like a sign
The
language.
goal we set out for us is to see if we can close the gap and connect the ancient, traditions to make sure people understand, what has been.
You also had another paper, so I'm just going to skip to that. What they did was yes.
Method and process for creating data set for Madras Tamil.
What the person is saying in the slang of the particular language. So this is, both of these posters are, it's very generic. It is not particular to a particular language, but it's very generic. But that's the first attempt for us to, get word.
That's spoken like a true engineer. I want to see whether I can find Sundar, because I did not get to show you Sundar Narayan's presentation. And we're talking a lot about language AI. These were all the double-blind peer review selected papers. The posters, the abstracts were selected by the area chairs, and then they developed the posters. And there's a whole world of innovation brewing out there in the language world. Here is Sundar. Let me see whether I can get a little clip of Sundar presenting his work, because he took what is very famous from the new world of algorithms and models that is happening in large language models. And there is one called No Language Left Behind. So it's called NOLO. And that's from Meta. And he took that and he tried to see if a translation is done incorrectly, does that lead to misinformation? So automated misinformation from mistranslation and from multilingual translation. So NOLA model is supposed to translate to 200 languages. And so he just took one of them and then he did that. So I'm going to see if I can get to hear Sundar here, because this is his paper. Yes, let's see what
we're speaking about is one, platforms like Meta are not news media. Second, platforms like Meta auto-translate content where they don't have human in the loop to validate the translations practically, right? And monolinguals who know one language will have faced the challenge of seeing or hearing news which are not actually true. And that's the point of focus here. The statistics are already there on the poster. The thing that I wanted to bring attention on are two parts. One is the kind of recommendations that I've proposed here. One is, and the second part that I want to talk about is the future work that I'm working on. The recommendation are three parts. One is, when you're actually reading a newsfeed, the least thing that you can do is to have an option for the user to suggest that this translation seems to be incorrect. That's the way that the platform can gather multi-stakeholder feedback on something that they have implemented, right? That's a feature that's missing currently. Second is that there should be a mechanism to track content which has the higher potential of mistranslation, leading to misinformation. If you're able to track that content within the platform also, you're able to see how additional mistranslation can occur in that environment. Third, and more important thing is that there should be robust mechanisms to cross-validate, specifically in low-resource languages. Generic cross-validation mechanism may not necessarily serve for all the languages. Language-specific cross-validation mechanisms may be required for ensuring that adequate attention is paid on impact of mistranslation.
Okay, so I'm going to pause here because all I've been showing is this is December 5th when we had the whole NeurIPS virtual posters. I'm so proud of everybody who presented. I didn't get to actually get everybody online and see all their work. I was able to go see the poster sessions, but I just wanted to share that I'm very proud of that. Given that I've made promises of giving you a lot of different AI opportunities and whatnot, I want to tell you about something else that is happening. That there is a EMNLP event, that is a conference called EMNLP 2022 that is happening right now, started on December 7th and is going to go till the 11th. It is in Doha, Abu Dhabi. And a lot of people who were there at NeurIPS went directly to that because it is focused specifically on NLP and language models. So last week I introduced you to Bonaventure, who was our keynote speaker. And so let me show you what Bonaventure is doing this week. Bonaventure is presenting a paper called Masakane Ner, which is an Africa-centric transfer learning entity recognition. And Masakane is this powerhouse of brilliant people working from various different countries of Africa on various different languages to develop NLP models and translations and all kinds of technologies. It's just a very vibrant Slack community. So Bonaventure is presenting this paper right now, and I think this is part of the poster session that happened just yesterday or today, because I saw this shared on the Slack. So that was one. The other thing is our own Susanna Raj has been at this AI summit in New York. And this is a powerhouse of women. Here you see Susanna. And Susanna was in a panel, and this seems to be like a fun theme when you have like a lot of, women-led women-led events. It's not typically, they're not just competitive, they're very supportive of each other. I love that environment. So here you can see a lot of brilliant women, and you can recognize Renee Cummings from Virginia, University of Virginia, AI ethicist. Let me see, who else can I find? This is Kay. This is our own Pamela Gupta, cybersecurity expert, and I'm very biased towards my students. This is, I think, Susanna setting up or presenting, and then I think she was given an award as a most valuable, a very valuable member of women in AI community. So I just wanted to share, because this was a power event that happened. I tend to share what are the events that is coming up. And some of you have been saying, okay, after the event is done, can you come back and share with us interesting things that happened from the event itself? So, or a summary of that. And then this week, one of the things in terms of opportunities is, let me share my screen again. Mozilla has this offer where this is Common Voice for African languages, and they have a sprint, and they're basically doing this for end of the year. They want it must be a speech to text model that uses the Common Voice data. So they have this project called Common Voice, where they're collecting variety of different voice recording from the community, and so they want people to use that and then submit an entry, and they want to see what kind of model, and specifically they've released data sets for Luganda, Kiswahili, and several other languages, and so they want to see people building from that. And this is open for anyone who would build anything using this data set for African languages for voice. And I'm very big on voice and understanding all these accents, so I love this one. And I think it's like $1,000 grant for here. It's 10 prices of $1,000. So that's the thing. And it is open till 15th of December. So spread the word. And let's see, because I saw so many people at New Rips, and I see a lot of people from Sakane Slack group. So I think there's going to be a lot of people. It's going to be an interesting challenge for Mozilla. And then my favorite student, Aishatu Godabe, has launched her story called African Ancestral AI. It's published in the Parables of AI in or from the majority world. And I think this came about from a discussion from Data and Society Research Institute. And she thanks all these other curated editors, Ranjit Singh and Rigobera Lara Guzman and Patrick Davison. And I believe it's like 12 original stories about the everyday experience of living with AI. I mean, Aishatu, some of my students have heard Aishatu come to our class and speak, and she's a brilliant person. She's a peace technologist and has been working to bring Hausa language data set to make translations to Hausa easier. And she uses art. She does a lot of amazing things. So the other person who popped up in my feed is Raji Arasu. I worked with her in the past, and she's a brilliant leader in tech. I believe she's an EVP at Autodesk, and she was covered in Forbes. That would be an interesting, it's like a C-suite interview. So congratulations, Raji. And then one interesting person who is usually not in my typical AI feed kind of topic is Rachna Bhattavdekar. And she was awarded the Space Specialist Group Award by the Royal Aeronautical Society for contributions in space science and engineering. And so here is Rachna. Congratulations, Rachna. And who else have I got? I mean, it happened to be a lot of women power this week. This was just unbelievable. Had one more person, I believe. Shruti here. Okay. I don't know all of these people very personally. If I know, or if I'll tell you, usually I don't have any affiliation, but they inspire me. So this is Shruti Rijwani, and she defended her PhD. Congratulations, Dr. Shruti, from Language Technologies Institute from Carnegie Mellon University. And have you seen the PhD defense, the thesis committee all smiling like this? That itself should make news. This is her thesis defense committee. It was done on Zoom. And then now she has joined as a research scientist in Google AI in New York. So congratulations, Shruti. And this is a person worth following because, obviously she's working on language AI, which is exciting for me, but she's also a Forbes 30 under 30 in Science 2022. So that I would say is a person to watch. So usually I would start with people who inspire me, and then I would go to some kind of news and stuff, and then I will move to activities or where the opportunities are. But this time I'm kind of going the other way around, and I've come to the people who inspired me list. So let me finish the event stuff before I jump into another topic. So I told you the people who inspired me. I showed you the New Rips December 5th posters from Global South and AI, from the virtual ones. The other thing is there is a talk by Dr. Vukosi Mariwate. I also know him from the Masakane team. And he is going to present Critical AI Initiative from the Rutgers University Computer Science Department. Again, it's an AI talk on language models focused on Africa. So if this is of interest, this is on December 15th. I'll be sharing this also in my newsletter. And before I move away from the Mozilla topic, I told you about the Common Voice African Languages, the STT model sprint they were doing. Mozilla also does this fun kind of online event called Mozilla Festival, and I don't have the link for it handy for me to show you. There is time, I'll bring it back next week. I will definitely put it in my newsletter too. Let me see if I have it. They do a very fun thing, like for those of us who come from the unconference world and the meetup world from the past, we can relate to it because this is very truly community driven. And then there are variety of different kind of sessions. So it's not like a typical conference. You can submit workshops and you can submit any proposal, but it's the community, there's a set of people called wranglers that they've been selected from previous years who come together and decide what the themes and tracks are, and then they will make a decision. So it's a very interesting process, and it's like such a creative process. And their whole thing is they want the internet to be trustworthy. And so there's a lot on trustworthy AI. And so for those of you who are like my students from this AI ethics class or follow me on all this inclusive AI research, I think this would be of interest to you. So Mozilla Festival is the name, and I'm going to find the link for you, but I would suggest that you think about what you can contribute. What does that look like? You could drive a discussion, you could drive a workshop, but think of the impact you want to make, because the thinking is not just go to a conference and present and feel good and walk away, but use this as an opportunity to tap into a very creative, vibrant community that loves the internet and wants to keep it safe and accessible for everybody and very trustworthy. And how can you create an impact? What can you get from there? So that's they have this call for proposals going on. And there is a bunch of other grants and fellowships. I've been sharing it in the newsletter. So there is IJCAI is going to be hosting at Cape Town in South Africa in August. So their posters, they've just given a preliminary call. Their call for papers and workshop is opening up in the first week of Jan, I believe Jan 4 to 11. So they've come with that. I found the Mozilla link. Do you want to see it? Yeah, okay. So this is December 16th deadline too. I'd like to show you just for the beat and how it was presented. This is like no other online event out there. So I thought you should see that. Okay, so I am getting to the tail end of my time here. So IGCAI, I believe, is one of the top AI conferences. It's in August 2023, and so the call for papers is open from 4 to 11, and then you immediately have to submit the paper on the 18th. So you can't, if you already have research in the works, that would be a good thing. And then another interesting thing I saw is Stanford has this polarization and social change lab, and they're recruiting 2 new postdoctoral positions, a postdoctoral scholar and a research scholar. And then Berkeley University, they have a girls in engineering summer camp. They're hiring 5 program assistants. So all of that I'm going to be sharing in the newsletter. And I believe the Harvard Berkman Klein fellowship is open, and they also have a new one. Rebooting social media was one that was, I think today was the deadline. So that fellowship is over, but they have another one. Let me share my screen. This is the Berkman Klein Center. They have, I've shared their fellowships calls. I've shared their fellows, what they're doing. So one of the interesting things you hear from a lot of these is you'll see the fellows, what they're working on. New America has one of those showcase of their fellows happening this week. So this is one for legal students. They'll get like a 10K stipend, and they can be, they should be first or second year in US law school. You can be a US citizen or green card holder, but yes, if they will accommodate if you are on a visa status. They won't sponsor visas, but if you're on a visa, you can still participate. And they have this fellowship, and they were so kind and said, if you are working on your finals, don't worry, because they have the deadline till Jan first week, I believe. So that's all details in here. So it's IFRFA, that's quite a rolls on our tongue beautifully. So those are different fellowships and openings. I've shared the jobs. There's few more jobs, but I will make sure that I just update it in the newsletter. So before I wrap up, we did a little review of ChatGPT. I just shared that last week. And it's been crazy. Everybody has been like playing with the ChatGPT, and that's like the newest thing in generative AI. So I wanted to show you one thing that I found came across my thread. So when we talk of generative AI, ChatGPT is going to generate the words, and then DALL-E is going to take the words and generate text. So this person, Eric Zelikman, what he did is he said, okay, let me make the ChatGPT write stories and then tell DALL-E to illustrate them. So he wrote a children's story about a robot that wanted to be a human. So this is once upon a time, there was a robot called Robbie. Robbie wanted to be a human and then decided to take a chance and traveled many miles and many challenges, arrived in the human world. Group of humans spotted and chased after Robbie. They were not nice. This is a children's book, guys. And so that's the story goes on. And somebody rescues, blah, 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 right? I'm just going to not keep reading this children's book here because it's taking too much time. But I felt like it was a mix of a lot of robot stories. The illustrations were brilliant, better than the avocado chairs we've seen of DALL-E. So I would give, kudos to that. There has been other interesting examples of the ChatGPT that has been shared. So what I'm going to do is, instead of showing more stories that were just shared with me, I'm going to take something that I've heard from there, and I'm just going to show you live, okay? So one of the things that is interesting is, because you can talk to this and it can talk back to you, it's kind of a creative exercise, different people trying to make it do different things. So here you can chat with Chat GPT, and you can, here's an example of, right, journal of a kid who found rainbows. Isn't that a little scary to hear? I'm not sure what you mean by not real when it comes to rainbows. They are a natural phenomena. So it starts talking to you like that, in that case, rainbows are real. I'm just going to take a screen grab of it because somebody had a very different experience with this. And you can retry again, it will do a different word. Today was a really exciting day. I woke up early and went outside to play. The sky was clear. And then I saw, I saw rainbow. To take a picture of it, went back inside and asked my mom about rainbow. She told me rainbows are not real. It's an optical illusion caused by the reflection of sun, blah, 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 right? So this is, you can make it do different versions of it, and it's talking, right? There was a poem that was shared from somebody also. Let me see, what else do I have on the chat? Okay, I'm still in the rainbow mode, so I'm going to go back and share I'm sharing the screen, guys. Okay. There was this, let me try a new one. A poem about rainbows. Rainbow in the sky, a sigh, sight so bright and true or colorful. This is an AI writing this poem live right now. So let us take a moment to appreciate the beauty. Isn't that amazing? Okay, if I say try again, it's going to do a different one. Words. No? Variation of that. It has something. Okay. Which is bigger? I saw a variation of this. I'm just trying to make that. It is impulsive, which is better, the sun or moon. I've seen this variation of this again and again in so many rounds. There's so many people, and you can try this like chat.openai.com, or you should say Chat GPT, and you'll get to it. You can try various things and make it do things, fetch things, and I would say play with it. This is the latest, greatest in the generative AI world. But the unfortunate thing is there has been no research paper published, because what is the logic and what is the brains and how did they do? Yes, what did they do different compared to the previous GPT-3? It's all like a big black box. That's the thing with AI, a lot of things are black box. And I have not heard anything of how this AI has gone rogue, like we saw Galactica went rogue and was pulled back, or Tape got pulled back as a chatbot within 24 hours. So we'll see what it can do, because all of these are trained on large language models, and it is biased data, right? So it's not as inclusive data. So I heard about somebody talking about talking to it in a different language, non-English, and it didn't understand it. And then they had to explain what it was, and then it understood and continued on. But it still can talk other languages. So it's ways to go, but there's a buzzing excitement about the possibilities of, how it seems to cogently talk to us like a human, and write poetry, which seems, not too scattered. So seems impressive so far. Let's see where we can take it. So with that, I'm going to wrap up. bit.ly/Jamthe newsletter is where I'm going to share all the links with you guys, my newsletter. And if you're working on any of the fellowships or grants, especially if you're one of my students, want feedback, want to work with me, I'm happy to collaborate or give you feedback. Otherwise, good luck, and let's keep moving forward, because I think the more of us get involved in AI, we make it more diverse and inclusive and interesting and workable for all of us. So with that, I'm going to wrap up. And especially this week, I also taught the Barcelona Technology School class. That is, the new semester starts in October for them. So I just got started with the Masters in Digital Transformation Leadership. So if one of you are watching this, I would love for you to go try ChatGPT. We had Dr. Tara Sahib come in as a guest for the last hour and talk to us about generative AI. So she showed a bunch of these possibilities. So I hope you're excited about it and think about the AI ethics that we've been talking about in all this. So with that, let me wrap up. Thank you, everybody. Let me see, how long did I go? Okay, another 10 minutes. I'm going to try for 30 next time. So with that, I'll wrap up and hope you all have a wonderful weekend. And I will see you next week back at SudhaLive, and I'm just going to see you online in one of the events that we've been talking about. Okay, bye. Talk to you then. Bye. I am going to stop my recording because this time I did the recording also here. Bye-bye. I'm going to stop the live stream. And if you come and watch this, post a question, comment, or work in that area, I will come back and just check and reply to it on LinkedIn.